Now, normally this would have been ground on a metate, which is a slab of granite, volcanic granite, that has been chiseled, so there's pock marks in it. So it's
made out of the same material as the mobility.
Yep. Yep, right there's
But it would be a flat slab, and it would be like a rolling pin type thing, and you'd sit it and
metate.
grind it. And besides being really hard work, it takes a hell of a technique. I
Yeah.
mean, you can be as strong as you want to be, but if you don't have the technique figured out, you're
And
it's going
with
to
my
be.
elbow, you don't.
The
you don't
metate
do
would
it.
be a flat piece of granite like that, and the mano is what they call it. The grinding part of it, the mortar, the pestle part of it, would be a long kind of football-shaped grinder, and then would be the masa would be here. I'd be adding it, and I'd have water and salt. So
You kind of twist or
yeah,
whatever to
yeah.
like
There's a push and a schmear, a push and a schmear. If anybody's ever made like French fondants or any kind of pastry over marble or a chilled surface, yeah, thank you. It's the same process where you're getting it's an emulsification and a grind at the same time. And so a woman with the aid of children would sit there and grind mountains and mountains of it, and then they'd hand the masa off to the tortilla making department, to the etc. department. It is an involved process to say the least, and it takes a lot of work. Actually, it was estimated that the average Mesoamerican person in a lifetime would consume one of the manos, one of the granite grinders, and their teeth were perfectly smooth because of the bits of granite that were incorporated into the grinding of the masa. So in their lifetime, which the average lifetime was about 30 years, they didn't live that long. So that's even more astonishing that they would consume one of the granite manos.
So that corn has been soaked?
So it's
Soaked
been
with this?
boiled.
Boiled?
Boiled with it,
How,
yeah.
An hour, did you say?
About an hour.
An hour.
About an
okay.
hour, depending on
Any
the
amount
volume.
of water or just
You have to be able to. The corn has to be below the water. So
okay.
cover the corn with water. Add the pinch of lye. Boil
a
for an hour.
tablespoon, he said? Like
About a tablespoon, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it depends how big of a bucket you're gonna make.
Okay. And
So-
then he drained it, just drained it, and then
That's right.
rinsed it? Did he rinse it
Yes,
after?
you have to rinse it very thoroughly. What's going to happen is that the outer husk, like a clear, kind of like a snake skin almost, is going to come apart from it. If anybody's ever bought garbanzo beans
Yeah,
or
right,
hominy,
right.
you see those little skins floating. That's the epicardial shell of the
So you get rid of that.
corn.
that-
Well,
or
the
you
nixtamal starts to dissolve it, and it makes it swell and fall off.
Oh, okay.
So what you do is when you wash it, you're doing two things. You want to get rid of the lye because it's got a very caustic and strong flavor,
Okay.
almost like quinine.
So you just
We're
rinse
not,
it.
the limeys love it, but we don't.
Okay, so you rinse it.
So you gotta rinse it, and what you do is, as you're rubbing the grains together,
The skins come off. Yeah.
Exactly. The skins are coming off, they float off, they rinse off. Now, if you're using white corn, there's a good indicator that you've used too much lye, that your corn starts to yellow. So if you're using that, that's usually there's actually a chemical color change that will occur. See, this one was white corn originally, but it's got a little hint of yellow to it, and that's from the lye. That's from the lye. This is Mexican-sized corn. This is Mexican-style corn, or maize. Yes.
I thought it was garlic.
No. These
looks like
are kernels of corn. These are kernels of corn. This is more, and they get bigger than this. Your Mesoamerican corn that we use in Mexico now, just to put my thumb next to it, it's probably 2 to 3 times the size of this one. So they're like super corns there. So the first step is the grinding. And in Mesoamerica, South America, Mexico, Guatemala, people still do this every day. Whether they grind it at home, the old-fashioned way, those that live in a rustic setting still do that, or in a modern neighborhood, they go down the street and there's a modern mill, and they pay $1 and they have their day's masa. You know, Mexico has corn, Asia has rice, they've got beans and roots in Africa, but those are the staple foods. They can't start with that.
So to summarize what you're saying, you're going to get your field corn first.
Yes.
You're going to boil it with
Your lye, your potash, your anhydride.
about a tablespoon to a pound. Is that what you said?
About a tablespoon per pound.
All right. And then about an hour. You're
About
gonna,
an hour, yes.
Okay. And then your next step is,
Rinse. No, sorry. Next step after that is for it to sit.
okay.
Now, there's a lot of variables depending on the size. As we saw, this is big corn, and the other one's small corn. The type of anhydride that you use. Did you use potash? Did you use you just have to play it by ear. If there's a lot of discoloration, or if the husks aren't coming off, you need to let it sit longer. anywhere from 2 hours to overnight, depending on
Okay.
the amount and the type of corn that you have.
All right, so now you've got it. Oh, go ahead.
In this case, the longer the better is not the case, because the longer you let it sit in, the more rye flavor it will have, to the point where you will not be able to use it for anything. So at some point in time, maybe at 2 hour intervals, take a handful out, wash it out properly, and taste it. That's and if it's still too hard or it's not coming out, you keep letting it sit in the light solution.
Okay.
So it's better to err on the side of caution than let it go too like, I'm gonna go to bed. After that, after it's been rinsed thoroughly, then the hominy can be used for a variety of things. It can be eaten. It can be eaten proper. It can be used in pozole or menudo, a lot of Mexican stews. Or, as we were choosing to do today, it can be ground into masa and then made into its constituent thousands of products from there.
Yeah, it is.